On today's episode of PDubs Arcade Loft, we're going to take a look at the Arcade1Up Pac-Man HDMI Console in stores now. Alright, before we tear her open, let's take a look at the packaging. And yes, the back of the box does have some decent information, as well as on the side panels you do have the logos for all 10 built-in games included on the side panels on each side. And of course, looking at the front, they got a cute little design on the front. Nice to see games like Rally X and Mappy included. First time we've seen those from Arcade1Up. But who cares about the packaging? Let's throw that away and let's take a look at the console and all that stuff itself. This is what you get included with the packaging. You get this cheap little plastic HDMI Arcade1Up console. Got a nice Arcade1Up branding on there. 2 micro USB ports, a power light indicator on the front. Looking on the back, you do have your micro SD port and HDMI port, as well as another micro USB port in order to power the device. Taking a look at the design of it, neat little, I don't know, octagonal shape to the device. On the bottom, you do have all the FCC info and some Arcade1Up molding. We could open it up and look and see what's inside, but honestly, nobody cares on a cheap little product like this what's inside. Taking a look here, got your cheap, flimsy Pac-Man power button. Nice little Pac-Man logo on the top of the device. As we kind of dig through the wires, they gave us plenty of wires. We'll get to the controller here in just a minute. I'll be honest, the instruction booklet on this particular product ain't half bad. Throughout the instruction booklet, you have great instructions on how to swap in your batteries. You do need AAA batteries, and I gotta tell you something, for 40 bucks, I wish Arcade1Up had given me a pair of cheap batteries to come with this device. You do have to source your own batteries if you want to do this controller wirelessly. Also, they give you instructions on how to play all the games, what all the buttons and layouts are, how to connect it wirelessly or with wires, as well as, but what's kind of funny is they did take out the instructions we saw previously on how to add your own games to this system. Yes, you can add your own games, you know, games from like Nintendo, Game Boy, all that kind of stuff. We saw that on that booklet with the FCC filing, and what do you know, by the time this hit market, that printing got removed. And of course, inside they gave us an HDMI cable and they gave us a USB to micro USB cable, which you can use to power the device. But then again, you have to source your own outlet. You have to source your own plug in order to plug this in as well. Again, for $40, considering that the product itself, you know, the console and the controller feel very, very cheaply made, I think they could have included a power adapter as well as some batteries to kind of make this feel like you're getting your $40 worth. Each of the USB cable and the HDMI cables are both about 3 feet long, so nice they gave you some kind of length on those cables. Now looking at the controller itself, this controller, you definitely need to grab something to stick in there unless you have really long fingernails in order to pop that loose and get your battery. The instruction booklet says use a screwdriver. That's what I had to use. I had to use a flathead screwdriver to get that in. Actually, the trigger buttons, the LB and RB trigger buttons on this controller are actually nice and clicky. I actually like the little clicky feel of the shoulder buttons on this controller, but the rest of the controller, in my opinion, is an absolute disaster. This is probably one of the worst directional pad buttons I have ever felt in my life. We'll talk about how it plays in just a couple of minutes. These start and select buttons are so flush against the surface that sometimes you can barely tell you're pushing them in because they are just so flush against the surface. We have a terrible Pac-Man sticker. This thing is going to fall off within seconds. And of course, all these ABC, XYZ buttons are just god-awful. I mean, I have to be honest, this is probably one of the worst, cheapest controllers I've ever held in my gaming life. And I've been gaming since I was about 8 years old. Looking at the top of the controller, you do have a micro USB port where you could plug in another micro USB cable and have this wired into the HDMI console for a wired connection, as well as an on-off toggle switch to turn your controller on and off, as well as to activate the wireless pairing. And it does pair wirelessly automatically. Now, since they only gave you 2 cables, if you did use the micro USB cable for powering the device, You could plug that in order to hardwire the connection with the controller, but now you need to go get another cable, source your own, in order to power the device. Maybe Arcade1Up should have included an additional cable in here to make you feel like you're getting your $40 worth. In order to review this item out of the box, I do have that HDMI console plugged into my TV, as well as I'm using that included yellow Pac-Man controller. Although that directional pad button feels terrible when it's powered off, as I have it turned on, it does feel pretty good when I'm moving around the menus. However, when I'm in-game, especially when I'm playing Galaga, as I attempt to move my ship with the couple days I've tried playing on this thing, side to side, I've noticed that at times there is a bit of a delay. I'll push right on the directional pad and the ship does not move, or I'll push left on the directional pad and the ship does not move. It takes like a fraction of a second. It does feel like a bit of a delay when running wirelessly for this for the actions to happen on screen, but I've mostly only noticed that during Galaga. Not with other games. With Pac-Man, it does actually work and respond pretty well when playing Pac-Man, just some issues with Galaga. And personally, I was really excited to see Rally X as one of the included games on this particular console. And what's really interesting, of course, is that with Rally X, everything kind of self-drives for you. You're not going to crash into the walls and stuff. It will not let you crash. It'll automatically turn your vehicle, but of course, whenever you do turn your vehicle left, right, the control pad does seem to be responding for it. And of course, who doesn't like Rally X? It's a fun game. If you've never tried it before, give it a shot, guys. When I went to play Dragon Spirit, which is a vertical scrolling shooter game where your character is actually a dragon, you're fighting other dragons, you're dropping fire bombs on the ground, as well as shooting fire in the air, trying to hit enemies in the air and on the ground. The game just felt really, really slow. Could have been because I haven't played this in a very, very long time. But then again, it could maybe be the emulation. I don't know. Just was not a good experience playing this game on this console. Everything just felt like it was moving and dragging very, very slowly. If you can get the hang of this game and learn how to play it without getting yourself killed, this actually is a really fun vertical scrolling game. It just, I don't know how to describe it, guys. It just didn't feel right playing it on this console. Another one that I was super excited to see on this console is Galaga 88, because not only do I love the original Galaga, I love Galaga 88, and happy to report that the left-right directional movement did not seem to be a factor in this game. I only experienced it when I was playing the original Galaga. Everything on this game seemed to emulate and run really well, and it was really fun playing this. And they added Rolling Thunder on here, which, guys, I hate to say it, but whoever designed or created Rolling Thunder needs to be punched in the throat. This game sucks. But of course, it's a Pac-Man themed console, so we gotta try Pac-Man. We gotta see how that's going. Obviously, what I do like about this Arcade1Up HDMI console is we do appear to be getting pretty much the arcade ROMs on this device. You're not getting like Nintendo console type ROMs. So you are getting the arcade ROM experience, which I think is needed when you play Pac-Man. All other ROMs of this game just aren't the same as the original arcade. And it's weird because that orange directional pad seemed to work just fine playing Pac-Man, but then again, Galaga was the only game where I felt like there was some kind of lag or delay in the character movements, but Pac-Man ran just fine. And of course, we've played Pac-Man a million times, a million different ways. Didn't seem that exciting to me. I mean, at least it worked pretty well. Now, on these HDMI consoles, you do have the ability where you can create a games folder. You just literally, on a micro SD card, make a folder labeled games, and you can drop your NES ROMs, your Sega ROMs, your Nintendo ROMs, your Sega CD ROMs, your Sega 32X ROMs, your Super Nintendo ROMs. You just dump them in there and play them. I'll have a link to my buddy COOLTOY's video below in case you guys want a tutorial on that. But after I got to this point, guys, I gotta be honest, I completely had lost faith and interest in this product. And even though I purchased this product just for the sake of being able to add your own games to it, there's better ways to go out there. I mean, for 40 bucks, I don't feel like I'm getting my money's worth. I could just buy a Raspberry Pi and play all kinds of games on my TV like this, and different games of better quality than what you can get, because this thing is limited to Atari, Game Boy, Sega, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, etc. You're not going to get anything really fancy running on here. In my opinion, I think this product should have been about 20 bucks, if that. 40 bucks if you had thrown in a couple extra cables, an AC adapter, as well as some batteries, maybe justify the purchase a little bit more. The packaging is nice. This will definitely be an impulse buy for a lot of consumers. They did a good job on the packaging. This thing is at Office Depot and all that other places, Target and etc. I think these things are going to sell because people will see them, and they're going to buy them. But in my honest opinion, for any of us in our gaming community, I would strongly advise you to not purchase this product. Arcade1Up doesn't like it when I give scores on reviews, so I'm just going to say, am I going to dub this worthy or not worthy? And PDubs is going to dub this not worthy. Arcade1Up has hit a lot of home runs in the past. This is one that where unfortunately they have struck out. Looking forward to their pinball and arcade machines coming out soon to make up for this. Have a great day.